It's not that they underestimate you, but I think one thing that I find galling as I get older is the sort of condescension. It's a sort of not paternalistic. That's the wrong word, but patronising. That's the word. Patronising condescension. If anyone looks at me, oh, that's so sweet. I hate it when they do that. Sometimes you have a sort of what I call a bit of a car crash of projects, and they all want to go at the same time. So then you have a very good agent, a very clever agent who manages to sort of massage the dates and, you know, give a little, take a little. And it worked out that I could do, you know, basically 5 projects in 6 months, which was pretty intense. I'm sorry, how rude of me. We're the Thursday Murder Club. I'd loved the book myself. It was one of those books, a bit like Harry Potter, that just sort of took off just by word of mouth, and it went boom, and everybody kind of read it. And we all loved it. Elizabeth is a mystery. We think she was probably in the Secret Service, but we don't quite know where she was. And I think she's carried that mystery along with her. She's obviously very, very smart. And she's well versed at pretending to be something that she isn't, you know. So quite who Elizabeth is, I think that's the great thing. We don't quite know who she is, quite honestly. I think she's one of those people who keep herself, and there are people like this, who there is a secrecy about them. They keep themselves to themselves. They don't feel they need to advertise who they are. When I read it, I did think, ooh, if they ever make a movie of this, I think that's my role. I think I could do that one. And kind of secretly hoping that, you know, I might be asked to do it. So when that call came, I was very happy and slightly, yes, of course they were going to ask me. Ben and I started out in the theatre together, and we were, you know, of a level, 2 young actors, you know, serious about their work, passionate, ambitious, both of us, both wanting to be great classical actors. So, and both at the same level. We started off in the Royal Shakespeare Company together. So Ben went off and had his career, and I went off and had my career. And, you know, that now we re-meet, and that was wonderful to be with him again. It was rather magical, actually. Piers I'd actually never worked with before, although he played a very small role in The Long Good Friday, a film I did with Bob Hoskins many years ago. But I'd never actually worked with him, and he was the most wonderful revelation to me, and I would pay a lot of money to work with Piers for the rest of my life, actually. Luckily, I did get to work with him again on Mobland. And then, of course, Celia, who I'd had, you know, enormous fun with on Calendar Girls. And that was fun. When you say fun, that was fun.
The second you lose trust in me is the second this family turns to dust.
Obviously, you get offered roles that are appropriate to your age, you know, that's the reality. I think that's the great thing about Mobland, is that you don't feel it's a sort of, you know, that sort of oldie film, you know, about feisty old people. The very weird thing happened with me and Maeve is I just kind of slotted into her just instantly. And when I am her, I'm a completely different person, but it's a person I feel extraordinarily comfortable with. It's rather alarming, actually. But she just, oh my God, it's like putting on a coat that you found in a vintage store, and it fits you just like perfectly, and it looks great. I've never played anyone like Maeve, and I love it. It's the most extreme opposite from playing the Queen, as you could possibly imagine. Although, funnily enough, she is another kind of a queen. But, she, you know, so manipulative, so venal, so ambitious. You know, she's just a wrong 'un, as they say. But she's got energy and agency, and those are the roles you want.
I forbid you to die. Do you understand me?
Or die. too stubborn.
There's something just epic about 1923. It's kind of pretty epic to work with Harrison. You know, there's Harrison Ford, you know. What could be more legendary in terms of Hollywood than Harrison? And then the grandeur of the environment, of the geography of where we work. The grandeur of the set in general, you know, we use multiple cameras, up to seven cameras at a time. So you have all that equipment and the crews, and then you have all the cattle, and then you have all the horses and the trailers for the horses and the people who look after the horses. So it's a massive set when you walk on, and it's, you know, I find that very exciting, all of that, and to feel that I'm an intrinsic part of that is just very, very exciting. I've lived now basically in America for the past, I don't know, 30, maybe more years. So to authentically visit that part of American history, that part of American culture, it was a sort of an honor for me. So I was very thrilled to be able to do that. I would have been very sad if I hadn't had the opportunity to revisit that story and that character and that way of shooting, and Harrison and the whole Montana and Taylor Sheridan's writing. So I was very happy to revisit that and bring it to a close.
I doubt there is anyone who knows the British people more than I do, Mr. Blair, nor who has greater faith in their wisdom and judgment.
The British have a very extraordinary and not exactly ambivalent, but a very profound emotional relationship with their monarchy, and especially with the Queen, because she was there for such a long time. She was such an incredible icon. We had no idea how that was going to be received, but a lovely journey into that particular mind and attitude of that woman. I loved being that person. I suspect on my obituary that will be mentioned, you know, which is fine by me, but we, you know, you do fight to, and that's why I didn't want to appear in The Crown, for example. I was asked to do that, but it was time to pass the mantle on, pass the crown on to someone else. I don't really like collaborating with Taylor, quite honestly. It's not, I love watching him work. I love watching him, you know, being with him as he's planning, as he's developing, as he's filming. But I want my work to be separate from him. It works better that way, although we have worked together. But it's an anomaly, really, to work together. I love having him by my side when he is by my side, and I love being on my own when I'm on my own. And he allows that, and likewise I allow him. And that's, incidentally, that's only to do with professional work, you know. If I wasn't by his side and someone else was, I'd be rather pissed off about that. But, you know, giving each other freedom to not to be controlling about where they are or what they're doing. And this has to work on both sides. You know, when COVID came and Taylor and I were suddenly in the same house together, you know, which was quite rare in our lives, we realized that, you know, we'd been together for 30 years, but to count the years we'd actually been in the same house together was probably a quarter of that time, actually, because, you know, I was always off working, or he was off working, or, you know, we were like that, and just occasionally meeting. But, you know, COVID was a challenge. And I think all of our family and everything was looking at us going, oh my God, I don't know what's going to happen when those two have to spend, you know, 3 months together. And it was fabulous. We had such a good time. We loved being with each other.
Okay, what is this? What's it called?
Now, the name of this cocktail is called a Helen Mirren. Yes, the Helen Mirren. Yes. It comes from a bar in New Orleans called Pal's Lounge. Yes, it was owned by my stepson, who passed away 2 years ago now. It's an important place for our family. Rio died of ocular melanoma. We didn't know about that condition. And it was only through that awful experience that we learnt that, this is a melanoma that can grow at the back of your eye without you having any consciousness of it. Rio hadn't had his eyes checked for 10 years because his eyesight didn't change. So he thought, why do I need my eyes checked if my eyesight's perfectly fine? If he'd had his eyes checked, they would have caught it early. It's a rare thing, but it happens, and it's a death sentence. I have his picture on my phone as the, as my screensaver. So I look at his face all the time, every day. And, we have, he loved the ocean. He loved going into the ocean, the Pacific Ocean here in Los Angeles. So we go to the ocean, and the men in the family jump into the ocean to memorialize him. I don't get up particularly early, no. But if I'm still in bed after 8 o'clock, I start feeling guilty. I try to do yoga every day. Not a lot, like 20 minutes, 30 at the max, But I try to do that every day. And a little bit of other exercise. I'm not a big exercise person at all. I hate sweating, and I hate my heart pounding and things like that. But you do realize it's really good to exercise every day. I love to garden, feed the birds, all of that sort of thing. Read. Sometimes write. I often have to do, videos for charity or for things like that. There's always stuff to do. There are endless things I do differently, but I didn't. So I live with what I've done. And tomorrow I'll make 15 mistakes, and I'll have to live with them. Hopefully you learn from your mistakes. You learn from other people's mistakes a lot. And you learn from other people's decency and goodness and humility and niceness. I don't think of it as a particular time in my life. It's just my life continuing on, sort of thing, I have to say, the last 5 months have been pretty intense, and at the beginning of it, I thought, I don't know if I'm ever going to get through that, but I have this attitude, which is you just take one day at a time. Just get through today, and tomorrow will take care of itself. And so that's sort of my general approach.